Carlos Garcia, who is our representative on our board for the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement, and Carlos is also a PAC member. Carlos.
Thank you, Kathleen. Good morning, brothers and sisters. How are you today? Good. I'm fired up too. So, first of all, before I go into what I'm here to do, I want to encourage people, if you have heard some good things and are wondering how can you get involved, there are opportunities for people to get involved in many of the things. I'm talking about being on one of the boards or planning committees. There are many committees, and I see a lot of people here who I think have things to offer. And so just see Kathleen or see Penny Hill or Ada or any of the other people, Bill Ritchie, who've been up talking today. If you find that you have a drive now to get more hands-on and more involved in any of the work of the Area Labor Federation. We're doing some great work. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about CBTU and LACLA. CBTU is the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. In your packet, you have two sheets that are membership applications for CBTU and LACLA. They are printed on white paper. Why do they have to be white? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a little joke. That's a little joke. Let's lighten up, y'all. All right, so CBTU was formed in 1972. There are 50 chapters in the United States. There are internationals and nationals in the United States and one in Ontario, Canada. The president of CBTU, the national president, is Bill Lucy, who's the secretary-treasurer of AFSCME. And many of you who went to the labor luncheon at the Black and Puerto Rican Legislative Caucus weekend had an opportunity to see Bill Lucy. He's a labor giant, one of the greatest labor leaders in our country. President, we had the opportunity to have him here in the Capital District speaking to us. So we have a chapter here in the Capital District. Our president is Shauna Davis from CSCA. Please stand up and be recognized. And I'd like to just have the other CBTU members in the house just wave your hand. CBTU members in the house, right? And under Shannon's leadership, we'll be hosting, I am a member of CBTU as well. We will be hosting the regional conference this summer, which is the region represents several states in the Northeast, and so we're pleased to be able to host that conference this summer, and you'll get information on that. LACLA is the Labor Council for Latin American Advancement. There are 67 chapters in the United States and Puerto Rico, representing over 1.7 million Latino activists in the trade movement. And I want to say that the constituency groups, there are 6 official constituency groups of the AFL-CIO, and even though they're called the Black and the Latino Caucus, constituency groups, they're not just for Black and Latino members. We have membership from anyone who wants to join. In fact, I'm pleased to point out that the president of our Area Labor Federation, Mary Sullivan, has been a stalwart supporter and has really helped to lift both LACLA and CBTU in this area. So again, I encourage all of you who are in the room who have an interest, but particularly the building trade people in the room. We have a lot of public sector participation in the constituency groups in the Capital District, but we need more building trade members in these constituency groups. So this is really an appeal to everyone, but particularly to our building trade brothers and sisters to get involved. We need more building trades people on the constituency groups. And finally, I just want to, as a matter of pointing out the impact of having constituency groups and these groups in the labor movement, I'd like to acknowledge my brother Gustavo Santos. Would you please stand? Before you applaud, let me tell you, Gustavo is a member of the Albany LACLA chapter and helped organize a rally last week. Now, while all eyes were focused on healthcare reform legislation that was taking place in the big vote in Washington, D.C., I'm sure that not many of you were aware that also last Sunday there was an immigrant reform rally held in Washington, D.C. Now, Gustavo organized a bus of 55 people from the Capital District who went to Washington, D.C. to participate in that march. I was one of those people. We got there, we were amongst a crowd of at least 250,000 to 500,000 people who were on the mall last Sunday, all right, marching for immigration reform, which is something that the AFL-CIO is advocating. The only thing I want to point out about that is not only that we're active, but it was just very striking to me that when I got back to Albany, and I looked in the papers, and I looked at the news broadcasts, and I know many of you are well informed, and you stay on top of the news, and you look at all the newspapers, and you look at the radio programs, and there was hardly anything said about this march and rally. So it just goes to show the power of the media and the power of the forces that we are up against. We must stay united. We must support one another. We ask for your support for Lockland CBTU. Thank you. God bless you.
That we had was making sure that green jobs in New York are good jobs, are good paying jobs, and hopefully are union jobs, so that people will have family sustaining wages and health benefits and a good retirement. And so to speak about how we might locally be involved in making that happen, we have our very favorite regional director from the Workforce Development Institute, Penny Hill.
We need to be aware of it. The Apollo Alliance is really a true coalition of labor, businesses, environmental action organizations like the Sierra Club, concerned citizens, social justice people. They all come together around this one issue, which we can sum up in one way by saying that it's a simple vision: improve our environment by putting millions of Americans to work in a new generation of good-paying jobs, and to make America a global leader in the clean energy economy. The Apollo Alliance is addressing different ways to do that through legislation. The Apollo Alliance is actually a national group, but WDI is sponsoring the state Apollo Alliance, and there's different chapters. We usually meet to have a discussion and then to look at actions. We have discussions at our good friends NICET. They've offered their facilities for us to have that. And I just wanted to, again, draw your attention to the salmon paper if you're interested in finding out more about what these discussions are and what actions can be taken around green jobs. I've also put a green dropout flyer there if you just want to find out more information. But I really think that some of the things that they've done, the Apollo Alliance locally, is on the back of the WDI sheet to see where we've been. Where we want to go is have more membership from unions. We want to hear your voice. We want to hear what you'd like. We know that we want to assure a future for our children, but we also want good-paying jobs. How are those stimulus monies being spent? How are we assuring that that money's going into good-paying construction jobs, building our roads, our transportation workers? And is there anything in manufacturing that we can look at? So we usually have good speakers. Our next event is going to be also on April 1st. It's going to be, if you're all fired up about the banks, you can come and get fired up about the environment. April 1st in the evening. It's going to be held at the Albany Law School this time, and it's going to be a report back from the Copenhagen Summit, the treaty. Well, I don't know if that was a real treaty, but Peter Bronis is going to be speaking, the commissioner. He's going to speak. You can come and do what you want. Sean Sweeney, who went to Copenhagen, he's with the Cornell Global Labor Institute. Those are just some of the types of people that we're going to have speaking. But we also listen. We have half the time set aside for listening at the Apollo Alliance. So if you come, your voice will be heard. So I just wanted to let you know that that's coming up. There's fill out your salmon color sheet, fill out your green sheet.